The question that everybody always asks is, how much did your pack weigh? And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know. I did not weigh it before I went. I just packed it with everything that I thought I would need. And yeah, so I have a scale. After I pack all this up, I'm gonna weigh it and see how much I actually carried on my thru hike. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Michael Shepard Jordan here, and if you're a subscriber, I'm gonna do something a little bit different today in this video. If you're new, welcome. My name is Michael, and I recently, this past October, thru-hiked Missouri's Ozark Trail. I was on the trail for 18 days, and I covered roughly 300 miles. I figured I would make a video and just talk about three things. The planning that I did before thru-hiking the Ozark Trail, the packing, so everything I had in my pack and took with me, and then the whole resupply situation and what we ended up doing on my thru-hike. So thank you guys so much for watching. Real quick, if you haven't yet already, please hit that subscribe button below. And yeah, let's talk about planning, packing, and resupply on Missouri's Ozark Trail. Okay, so planning for the Ozark Trail. Well, the Ozark Trail, the thru-hikeable section, runs from Onondaga Cave State Park all the way down to the 11 Point Terminus, which is about 23 or 30 miles north of the Arkansas border. That straight shot is about 230 miles, but I included the offshoot to Taum Sauk Mountain, which is Missouri's tallest mountain. So with that offshoot, my total thru hike was about 300 miles. So the Ozark Trail is divided into 14 different sections. Now, the thru hike is only 8 of those sections because those sections are all connected. A couple sections aren't fully connected yet to the Ozark Trail, which is why you don't do all of it when you do the thru hike. But the sections that are part of it are the Courtois, Trace Creek, Middle Fork, Carcagny, Blair Creek, Current River, Between the Rivers, and the 11 Point section. I added in the Taum Sauk section as well, so I was going to do 9 sections of the total trail. I figured that I could do about 12 to 15 miles a day. And so I would look on All Trails, and then I would also look at the Ozark Trail maps. I printed these out. They're available. Each map of each section is available on the Ozark Trail Association website, which is super awesome. So I would reference this, and particularly this, the water sources on the OTA. So between All Trails and referencing the watermarks, I would kind of plan out between 12 to 15 miles per day. That initial plan lasted about 24 days. There was a couple extensions off into some campgrounds, which I'll talk about when it comes to resupply. But what I came to realize after hiking is that instead of doing 12 to 15 miles a day, I really could do about 15 to 20 miles a day. On average, I would do about 16 to 18. And that's really not because I'm super in shape or anything like that. It was really just more because of time. I would wake up and start hiking around 8 o'clock in the morning, and the sun set around 5, or I wanted sunset at like 6:30, and I wanted to be setting up camp by like 5:30. And so, you know, I would cover 12 miles by like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it just seemed very, very silly to sit around and wait all day, just sitting in the woods doing nothing. So I would just walk until the sun went down. Now the good news is that you can camp 100 feet off the trail in the Mark Twain National Forest, and pretty much all of the Ozark Trail goes through the Mark Twain National Forest. So if I needed to, I could just set up camp wherever I found a good spot. But I realized really quickly that there was almost always a primitive campground with a fire ring at any sort of water feature that was marked on the map or any sort of trailhead. And also the other good thing about All Trails is that the All Trails users have marked a lot of those primitive campsites as waypoints. So I would look at that as well, which was super great and super helpful. So That's what I did. I planned for 24 days. I ended up doing 18. I shaved off a lot of days. I shaved off a full day by not going to Big Spring Campground, which was 5 miles off the trail and then 5 miles back onto the trail. I just didn't want to do that. When I was out there, it seemed silly. So yeah, that's how I did it. In general, if you're planning on doing this, I think you could do each section in 2 days, 30 miles in 2 days. Just give yourself 15 miles a day. I know it sounds like a lot, but you're not doing anything else, so you might as well just walk. Okay, this is essentially everything that I packed for my thru hike of the Ozark Trail. I'm not gonna go through all of it piece by piece, but if you do wanna see it, I do have a gear list on my website. Just go to michaelshepardjordan.com/backpacking-gear and you can see all of the pieces with links to get them if you want to use them. These all work super well for me on my 18 days on the trail. And yeah, I'll show you how I packed and what I brought. Starting off, we have Granite Gear 60-liter backpack. I really like this backpack. It's super light, it's super rugged, and it served all of my purposes very, very well. I've got a Teton 0 degree mommy sleeping bag. I think you can get this for like 80 bucks on Amazon. I've had it for years. It was probably too hot, honestly, for hiking in October in Missouri, but it was great. This little down blanket from, I think it's from LL Bean. My mom got it for me a long time ago, and I use it as a pillow. Next up, we've got a Nemo insulated sleeping bag. This thing was awesome. It's a lot of money, but it was really, really great to have on the trail. Wonderful, 100% highly recommend. Then, because I was worried if it broke, I have a backup sleeping bag that I just got on Amazon for like 30 bucks. Sleep and Go is what it's called. REI Quarter Dome tent. This is a one-person tent. They don't make this anymore, which is a bummer because it's really great. But there is a link on my website to the similar product that they have out there. This thing weighs 1 pound, 15 ounces. So pretty solid. I had my food, which was Mountain House meals, adventure meals. These are just the rehydrate, boil some water with jet boil, put it in here, let it sit for 15 minutes. Then you go. So these were my breakfast and dinners every night. But I would also have this bag of snacks, which contain Cliff Bars, meat sticks, little Kind Bar things, gummies, coffee. Oh my gosh, coffee every morning. And then Propel waters. I packed these for about 6 to 7 days worth of snacks. I would eat at noon, I'd have a Cliff Bar and a gummy. At 2 o'clock, I'd have another Cliff Bar, a meat stick, and some gummies. And then at night, I would have the chocolate-covered Kirkland Kind Bar for dessert, basically, which was pretty great. So I would carry 7 days worth of food, even though my resupplies came every 5 to 6 days. So I would always have a little bit more food than I would eat, so I had some left over. But I figured it would be better to have it just in case anything happened. So I kept all my food in these dry bags that I just bought off of Amazon. I bought a pack of 5 of them, I think for, I don't know, 30, 40 bucks, something like that. I never really got rained on, so they never got put to the test, but it worked great to keep things kind of separate and stored. And they're in little containers, which was nice. Then in this little pouch, I had my jet boil and all my cooking stuff. So I had my spoon. This was just some dryer lint to start fires with, and the extra Katadyn beef-free water filter, which we'll talk about in a minute. Stuff to hang food, which I would do occasionally. I don't think I really needed to, but I did it anyways. And then, yeah, jet boil. That's all I ever used, which was great. And then I had a coffee mug in there and a spoon. This was my bag of extra clothes. I brought 3 merino wool socks. These are just REI socks. I brought 3 pairs of REI's hiking boxer briefs. 3 moisture wicking REI shirts, 1 REI mid layer, Patagonia Nano Puff hoodie, and then pants. These are Cools, just like hiking pants, which were great. A belt, and then I had another pair of pants that I would have for backups. This little bag had my first aid kit and stuff like that. So in here I had like liquid skin, an ace bandage, band-aids, all that fun stuff. This bag had all of my phone chargers, and it's probably the heaviest bag. I brought along 3 different power banks because I was filming this. To be honest, could have sufficed with just this. This bank probably gave me 5 full charges of my cell phone, so it worked. This one would give me 4, and then this was just an extra spare, which was nice to have. But I never really ran out of battery. It was my biggest concern because I knew I was going to film everything, and it ended up not being a problem because we got Airbnbs every 5 to 6 days. If I didn't have the Airbnb, I would have had to have gone to campsites that had electric hookups, electric camp hookups, to be able to charge. So this is all the stuff that went in the top of the pack. And here I had toilet paper, my trowel, a rain poncho, water treatment, the Aquamira, carried along 30 feet of duct tape, never used it. This is the rain cover for the pack. Kindle to read every night. And then a Spot X tracker, which, you know, was more for the people back home to follow along. I also carried this Thermarest Z-Lite sleeping bag or sleeping pad. So yeah, I probably overdid it on the sleeping pads, but this was really nice to have just to sit on. It was also nice to lay out and like put all my stuff down as I would lay it on this as I was unpacking camp and packing up camp and stuff. I don't know. It's just really nice to have, and it fit in these little straps right here, so I carried it. 1 liter Nalgene full of water. This is a 2-liter pouch with another water filter on top. I started off the hike with 2 liters of water in here, and then I realized it was just really lopsided weight on my shoulders, so after the first day, I pretty much only kept 1 liter in here to just have a balanced weight on the pack while I was hiking. And then finally, I carried this knife, which is a fixed blade knife that I've had for a while that I really like. I bought it off a dude off Etsy, and it's really pretty. It's Damascus steel, but just carried that in my pocket. So there you go. That's my pack. Fully packed up, 60 liters for about 5 or 6 days. Of hiking per resupply. You know, as I ate food, things got lighter, but that's generally what I carry. Let's find out what it weighs. I'm gonna guess it's about 35 pounds. That's my guess, but we'll see. So I didn't own a scale before I left. I bought this off Amazon when I got back, mainly to weigh myself to see how much I weighed, but for this video. So I lost 10 pounds. 10-ish pounds after the hike. Let's see what you weigh. 37.2 pounds, fully loaded. Right there. Can you see that? Not bad. Pretty accurate. That's everything I carried. Okay, let's talk about resupplying on the Ozark Trail. Well, the Ozark Trail Association website has this, they've got a ton of great information, but if you go down to through hiking tips, it does have some options for resupply. And these are a couple different places along the trail. The one thing about the Ozark Trail is it does not go through any towns or anything like that. So it's not like the Appalachian Trail or even the Pacific Crest Trail. There's no really established resupply points. When I was doing my planning, I called several of these locations on here. I called Brushy Creek Lodge. I also called Peck Ranch. Those were the 2 based on how I was planning and when I could resupply, which was about every 5 or 6 days. I Did not get a hold of Peck Ranch. I learned later that it's just incredibly understaffed and those rangers are just always out in the field, so it was hard to get a hold of them. And then when I spoke to Brushy Creek Lodge, they don't do any sort of resupplying. So I could not mail anything to myself like you would do on the AT or the PCT, which was a bit of a bummer, actually. I kind of wanted that experience, and I even planned on it. I had buckets of like food all parceled out that I was ready to mail, but I couldn't do it. You could have, mailed it to some towns. Van Buren has a post office. But again, that's, 3.5 miles off the trail down Highway 60, which wouldn't have been super fun to do. You could hitchhike. I met one guy on the trail who hitchhiked into Ironton to go to a grocery store from the trail. So it's just hard to resupply on the Ozark Trail. People have talked about caching food on the trail. I didn't really want to do that because it was going to be 5 or 10 days before I came and picked it up, and that just seemed risky. So eventually what we settled on is that my wife would drive down every couple of days and meet me on the trail and bring me my little food bucket. But it turned into she would rent Airbnbs for the night and close by, and we'd spend the night together, which was great because I got to take a shower, which was nice, sleep in a real bed. We always went out to dinner at some local restaurant, which was great. And for her, it made her feel like that she was part of the experience, which I think was super cool. I don't think either of us realized that was going to be the case, but it turned out to be, and she really liked it. So yeah, that was how we resupplied. She drove down from St. Louis. So I'm very grateful and blessed that I had a teammate and partner that could do that, because you can't, at least through my research, you can't really mail yourself stuff, which is hard. All right, guys, that's what I did. That's how I planned. That's what I packed, and that is how I resupplied on my through hike of Missouri's Ozark Trail. Thank you guys so much for watching. Come back next week. I hit the trail again. I'm going from Peck Ranch up to Powder Mill Campground on the current river section. Things get good. It's one of the best sections of trail. So appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Give me that thumbs up. Leave any comments that you may have. And if you want to see a gear list of everything that I have, just visit my website, michaelshepherdjordan.com. All right, see you next week.